We've been a band for about a decade or a little bit longer, but it kind of feels like we're kind of starting over again almost every time we do an album, because we have a pretty large gaps in between our albums. So yeah, my other band is Comeback Kid, and Sights & Sounds has kind of been a side project. So whereas Comeback Kid's a lot more of a hardcore, like punk kind of thing. Sights & Sounds is a melodic rock with, you know, atmospheric type parts, and you know, some just a kind of more soundscapey kind of music, and, you know, rock with a little bit of an electronic twist. So it's kind of the vibe with that. Well, obviously, like, the main inspiration to do the band was just to be able to, like, sing and do something more melody, and, you know, I love doing hardcore and heavy music, but I just kind of wanted an outlet that wasn't that, and you know, I've loved all types of different music all my life. So some of our big inspirations would be, I guess, like this guy Greg Dooley from Afghan Waves and Twilight Singers. He's amazing. Devin Townsend, who's, like, you know, more on the prog metal side, but he produced our first full length, and he's definitely been, like, a huge inspiration for Sights & Sounds. And yeah, just you know, stuff like that. Those are two huge names right now I can think of. But it's, you know, really literally everywhere. It's such a vast range of music. So it kind of goes from song to song, you know, like the first song, No Virtue, is kind of written to be more of an intro, and that definitely had, like, a, you know, I felt like a Prodigy kind of approach to the rhythm and the drums and electronic elements. You know, that was my inspiration as far as the rhythm goes, but also, like, even, like, you know, Gallagher Brothers, the guys from Oasis, and they're just taking some of their, you know, sometimes I like to envision some people that I like, what they would do to the song that I'm writing, and then it kind of gives me other, like, different ideas of, like, vocal patterns, and I don't know, it's kind of, you know, it was maybe a Noel Gallagher kind of, like, soaring vocal thing that he did on a solo record that kind of gave me inspiration, but I kind of kept on going back to, like, it's like a cyberpunk feel, like, you know, you're in this, like, you know, in this post-apocalyptic movie, and you know, that kind of that Prodigy type vibe, which it was just, you know, I think about more, it's not, like, necessarily band influences, but, like, what I'm trying to feel, or, like, you know, that can come from movies or other things as well, you know?
Yeah.
Still is a lot of this underground scene, but at the same time, maybe it's not as connected locally as it was before. Whereas before, everyone's coming to the same places, joining up, and they're talking in person. But, like, I mean, I'm older now, so I don't really know as much as, like, how it is for the young people. But the vibe I get is more young people are still staying at home more, or, like, staying in their own areas and still connecting with people in a DIY level, but it's always it's a lot of more time online and, like, less personal, I feel like. Whereas before, you know, everyone would meet up, and there would be a big crew of everybody here, and then now people are still hearing about shows in a DIY way, but they're gonna find them in their own different ways, and I don't know. I question whether it, like, takes away from some of that, like, community vibe of people actually being together, you know. I think it is what it is. I mean, you know, it's for me, it gets a little bit exhausting, doing so much, like, doing all the kind of advertising on, like, socials and stuff like that, on social media. It gets a little bit exhausting, whereas sometimes I'd like to, maybe at this point, after I've, like, kind of done a whole album cycle, and, like, it's almost like you have to, you know, putting out 3 singles before a record comes out, and that whole thing. I mean, I think there's definitely some really great things about it, and artists are able to be so much closer to their fans now. But it's very, you can give a lot of yourself through social media, and like it kind of, when you're using that platform for most of your advertising of like your thing, sometimes it kind of leaves it a little bit tainted a little bit with the music. Sometimes I even feel like, you know, I don't mind doing things like DIY, but at some point, like, some of that can take away from the time that I actually want to spend making music. Hardcore, I think, is great for conveying these kind of messages because it's like the way that that hardcore music is designed is that to really share a message, and you know, personal songs work too, but like hardcore is such a great like vehicle to like share a message, whereas other types of music maybe you wouldn't understand necessarily what the point that's the lyricist would want to get across. With hardcore, it's very much a direct, and that's part of that. And that helps. I'm not saying all hardcore stuff has to be direct, but it definitely helps when you're trying to convey a message. And it's kind of a type of music I feel that can like rile people up, and that's why it's a great vehicle, I think. We have people here that can make us feel like home here. Like my friend Mike just arrived. I don't know, it's just, we have some real warm friends here, and people that we can, you know, talk to, and we will talk to for probably the rest of our lives, so it's great.
That's cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.